Well, 2 years ago, cyclist Lacey Jones had what could have been a career-ending accident, but with personal grit and the support of her love, sweat, and Gears teammates, she fought back to compete in the biggest race they've ever done together, the Race Across America. Well, we followed the team since March and want to share this compilation. We call it Lacey to Racy.
All right, Lacey, it's so awesome to sit here and talk to you today. You have such an incredible story. Can you tell me your story?
Yeah, I mean, to start off with, I've always been an athlete, an adventurer, adrenaline junkie. That's kind of me in a nutshell.
Yeah.
So when I moved out to Colorado about 4 years ago, I got into the sport of triathlon, and through that, I found a love for cycling.
Yeah.
So I really honed in on that. I don't do small things. I tend to dive in hard. So my team had heard about an upcoming race, a 930-mile endurance race. We decided, you know, there's 4 of us, and we're like, oh my gosh, this is perfect, let's do it, why not?
Yeah.
I was outside of Parker, Arizona, and it's a 4-person relay team, so there's always 1 person on the road.
Okay.
And I happened to be the lucky rider at the time, or unfortunate time, I don't know how you want to phrase that.
Yeah.
But I was struck by a semi-truck. My crew got back to me, and local emergency response vehicles ended up getting there about 45 minutes later.
Wow.
They took me in an ambulance to flight pad, and they airlifted me to Phoenix.
Wow.
Where I went into emergency surgery. I went into ICU,
Yeah.
and I spent about a week and a half in recovery. And then from there, I moved over to the rehab unit that was in the adjoining hospital, where I spent another couple weeks in inpatient rehab. It's an ongoing recovery process.
I bet. Well, and you talk about the emotional healing. I think that, I'm sure you could say this yourself, but I think anybody who's listening right now would say you're lucky to be alive today after something like that happens.
Yeah.
How do you get back on a bike after that happens, not only physically but emotionally too?
It's incredibly hard. You have to figure out the why, you have to figure out the grit, you have to figure out the motivation, you have to figure out what drives you. And there's nobody putting limitations on things like that. It's up to you as an individual. And I think, getting back on the bike, part of it was a healing process for me. It was incredibly challenging, and I'm very thankful that I had the teammates I had surround me. My teammates really protected me.
As a coach, what does a typical day of training consist of? I mean, to prepare for these big races.
Mm-hmm. Well, there's nothing typical about the way they train.
I'm sure.
When you're doing, the beauty and the uniqueness about doing an endurance type race is you have to develop on a lot of different levels. One is you have to prepare for the endurance of the event, and the Race Across America is 9 days or less, so you have to have that endurance component, but you also want to be able to go as fast as you can, so you have to train for speed, and then you also have to train for flexibility because you ride at all different times of the day and or night.
Sure.
Throughout it all, they might be in training at 10 o'clock at night, 2 o'clock in the morning.
At all times.
At all
they
times,
have to be
yeah,
prepared.
they have to get up and go.
The Race Across America, for me, I look at that and I'm going, how do you do that? How do you accomplish something like that?
Well, our strategy is pretty simple, but it's harder than it sounds.
Oh, I'm sure.
So our race strategy basically is to always have someone on their bike riding. Try not to get lost, which is easier when you're going 3,000 miles from coast to coast. It's pretty easy to get lost.
Of course it is. Yes.
And to keep everybody healthy and strong.
They go through 12 states overall, so they're up to Kansas. They'll go through Missouri, Ohio, parts of New England. They'll end up in Maryland. They have to go through the Adirondacks. They have to go through some very, very hilly areas in Ohio, and end up in Maryland.
The team, though, races 24/7, right? And that's where I find this to be really incredible. No matter the situation, these girls are going to keep going.
Yeah, no kidding. No matter what happens, they just keep going.
What does this race mean to the racers?
This is a huge goal for them. And as you know, they tried to do this back in 2021, and one of their members had a pretty horrific accident. So it's taken her 2 years to recover and come back and get back to the level where she can ride at this level. And her friends stuck with her. They trained with her. They got her over the rough spots. But even beyond that, it's just been a huge goal for the last 2 years. And for them to be able to race at their best and to complete it really means a lot, and to support their cause, which is adaptive adventures. So they've put a lot of work into this.
This has been a special group from the get-go, so being able to cross that finish line together was something really special, I think, to all of us.
Yeah.
When you look at challenges, I think getting in the rhythm of our sleep, because you're taking that 24-hour clock and condensing it to a 4-hour clock. So
Oh my God.
You're eating, you're sleeping, you're exercising, you're doing everything in a 4-hour block, and then you're doing it all again. So just trying to be able to adapt to that is something that your body is really incredible to see how much it just changes.
Yeah, I just want to say that you finished first in your category. I mean, not only did you complete the race, but you also killed it. I mean, what does that mean to you guys?
It's amazing that we were able to do it and finish first in our category. Is super exciting for all of us, and the people that were following us along the way was really cool to see too, and all the people we inspired.
Okay, what's next for the team? I know this is the first time you attempted this race. You crossed the finish line. Are you guys planning on doing it again? Is there something bigger than Race Across America?
I don't know. Maybe. We'll find it, I'm sure.
I'm sure you will too. Congratulations again to Lacey and the Love, Sweat, and Gears team on winning the Race Across America. And it was an honor to follow your journey. Support the Love, Sweat, and Gears team and their charitable work with Adaptive Adventures on lovesweatandgears.net.